Welcome everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world and watching us. This is a tutorial that goes on for 5 days. We are on our second day. If you're watching us for the first time today, this is our second day. Please make sure that you watch yesterday's. That means the first tutorial. That gives you a background, a history, which is so important to understand where I'm going today and tomorrow and in the next couple of days. We must understand that as you walk with me, sometimes it's hard for me to bring things into context because I've already built the context in the previous and the first teachings. And so if someone catches me 2, 3, 4, 5 or even sometimes 7, 8 teachings down the road in a series, they might not be able to understand me because I have built the context in the initial videos. And I think that's why many people misunderstand our teachings, because they must understand that we work in series forms because the subjects that we're tackling are extremely vast. And so if you jump in maybe tomorrow or day after, we start getting more technical and more technical and more technical. And the reason why we get technical is simply because we want you to be able to get the full resolution, the full effect, the practicality of really getting down to the nuts and the bolts and the mechanics of how to do things, okay? So if we look at the Vast Mind series, if you miss the first part and then you come in at the latter stages or even in the middle, I'm talking of quantum mechanics and observer effect and all this kind of stuff, and they're like, what the heck is this guy saying? But it's because I've already built the context in the beginning, in the first couple of teachings. I've built a context for the Vast Mind, and if you get me on the tail end, there might be a chance that you will misunderstand me and where I'm coming from. So that's just indemnity that I'm putting out right now for those who are coming in on the second day. We might get a bit technical today. Today I want to show you the technology of the eyes and why it's important to understand prayer in this context. Okay, again, for those who are coming in for the first time, in no way am I saying that this is the be all and end all of how to pray. This is one way I pray. Trust me, there are so many other ways I pray. In fact, this is one way I think that is very practical, efficient, and you can be extremely precise when you pray using the prayer cards of the elements. I pray like normal people, like how you were taught to pray in a Pentecostal charismatic move. Do I have a relationship with God? Do I talk to Him? Do I pray in my language to Him? Do I pray in my mind? Am I constantly in conversing with the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and the Father? Of course, 100%. But this is utility. These are tools that I use, and you'll realize that it'll just take you 10 minutes to do one of these prayers. And therefore, I've developed it especially so that our group, we have a mentorship group. If you're on the Transcend page, I submit to you that you should join. We have a mentorship group, and it's especially for those guys to be able to be very effective. Those who are at WOW and believe in WOW and what we are teaching, for them to be effective in their prayer life, because I've spent countless hours in prayer and I still do, and but I want to be able to condense it, to make it practical for someone. Someone doesn't have to go through the toil, the labor that I've gone through to get where I am. I want to make sure that you have a very efficient and effective tool, and of course the experience that I carry in my prayer life, so that I can condense it in a shorter, practical, and actually a more effective way, so that you can get results in your prayer. Don't you want results in your prayer? And so these prayer cards have been developed. There are other ways, I pray as well. This is not the only way, okay? I don't want to overwhelm those who are in the mentorship group. People feel sometimes overwhelmed with all the different practical, technical ways that I'm talking about. In fact, God, that's my calling. God has called me to bring the knowledge of the glory. He said the knowledge of the glory will fill the earth. And it's not just the glory. If you lift your hands up and say, oh, the atmosphere is awesome, the presence is awesome, but what is the knowledge of the glory? How does that glory work? How does it affect? And I was teaching you guys yesterday, what is the mechanics of worship? When you go and lift your hands up, you hear the music, what is happening in your brain waves? What is happening throughout your time of tongues? What is changing? What is forming? That's the kind of stuff that I like to talk about, because I really think it helps. It really helps to know what is happening while you're praying, while you're talking in tongues, while you're worshiping, while you're feeling the presence and stuff like that. And that awareness can help you now get stronger, better, and more effective. So again, there are other ways I pray. Okay, I pray normally like in a voice. There are other ways I pray that I would like to teach you guys. If you can walk with me on these ones, if you can handle this, I can show you some really awesome stuff as well. And that's why I submit to you that be a part of the Mystery School, be a part of the WOWLife culture. Mystery School, for those of you who are in the coach groups, you must understand it's not a lot of work. It's once a week, really. You will see that after the first 3 months are done, you just have to spend once a week in a teaching that will be recorded, that you will be able to understand, and then practice the rest of your week on your own. So it really takes a little bit of your time, a little bit of your effort, and it's transformational. It's a life work, really, what I've put into Mystery School. Things that I've learned for 10 years, I've condensed it sometimes in 3 months in a protocol and a practice, because practice is what the charismatic and the Pentecostal move has sort of left out. They have not understood the practice. And there is deep practice in the Mystery Schools that were long before the charismatic Pentecostal move came on the scene. You must understand the Mystery School started in the desert in Egypt, and those were who we call the Desert Fathers. They are the original Christians, the guys who really understood what mountain moving faith is. They say that these guys really could move mountains. When Jesus says, you speak to the mountain and move, they say the Desert Fathers would look at mountains and say, now watch, I'm going to speak to the mountain, and the mountain gets flattened. Now, that's the type of Christianity I would like to dwell into, and I asked the question, how come we lost it? How come the first 300 years of the church was glorious, and actually everything that Jesus said came to pass? I mean, the emperor of all the earth, Constantine, he came to know the Lord because he had advisors around him who had that type of power. The emperor of all the earth, the Roman Empire, came to know the Lord because he had advisors who carried that type of authority and power. You must understand, it's amazing. And so the first mystery school started in the desert. And you will see mystery schools in the Bible. You see Elijah and Elisha. You see how the prophets and the prophetic schools, those are mystery schools. And you see how they come and they learn how to float an axe on the water. You see how to turn into like thin air, like a whirlwind, to become the wind and then go somewhere. You see, they were taught mystery schools right from the beginning. Christianity is full of mystery schools. It's not something that the New Age world or the occult has. It is your inheritance. And I'm all about getting our inheritance back. Taking our inheritance back. Not scandalizing, not accusing. The spirit of accusation is a pawn. Unfortunately, it's what comes into the body of Christ. And so there's a lot of accusation. And I've been called a heretic many times in my life. And so I would never accuse someone else without knowing their heart. I know how language is so limited and things can be taken out of context. Okay, so my submission to any one of you coming in right now, just listen, allow it to process. Sometimes it becomes technical. It's okay, it's good. Stretch yourself, understand the deepness. There is a science in spirituality. That means spirituality is just one language. The spiritual language of the Bible, charismania, Pentecostalism, whatever it is, it's just one language. Then you get science, which is a different language, but they're talking nearly about the same thing, and you can see the correspondence between. Once you learn to compare the correspondence in different languages, different realms, you start learning more. You start being able to really apply these principles. So my submission to you is, if you're watching me, understand that my heart's desire is to equip the church. And that's why I've set up Mystery School in the way I've set up Mystery School. And my submission out there, if you're on the Wow Transcend page, join a mentorship group, become a coach, and join us on this journey. And it's all optional. You don't have to do Mystery School. You can be a coach in WOWLife and not do Mystery School. It's just that when you become a coach, you have so many options open to you. There'll be different platforms at any point of time. Mystery School means there are platforms and components and modalities. At any time, you can tap into those and learn more when you want to go deeper, according to your timeline, according to what you feel and where you can go. And that's how Mystery School has been set up. It's amazing, okay? The platform will be out in 2022. I'm really excited. It's 2 years of work. I'm so excited because of the virus, and the coronavirus, and church got closed down in Sri Lanka, and it allowed me to explore and really put down in 2 years, like everything in my heart and my mind that I've learned for 10, 15 years, I can put down in 2 years, and I've created this platform and the global move and the coach groups and all this platform so that now the body of Christ can be equipped. And so 2022 will be ready, and when you're a coach, you just have access. You don't have to do any one of these modalities. You don't have to be a part of mystery school. It's just that now you have more options. You have a coupon, without any charge, to go into any of these modalities and really exploit more, and they're quite advanced, and you will have phenomenal experiences. And the idea is that you will get to know who your Lord and your God is in a deeper sense. And that's my heart desire for you. And if you know who Jesus is, and if you know who your Lord is, my God, you will naturally be equipped. You will naturally have authority and power. And naturally, the people around you, the environment around you, your family, your nation can be changed. The problem today with the church is that it is not equipped. The witches, the warlocks, I've been there. I've been one of them. The ceremonial magicians, all those guys, the Vedantic traditions, all those guys have more power than the church. And we've seen that because they don't understand the mysteries that are inside this amazing book called the Bible. Now, again, that's my monologue or my presentation to you before we start, because we're going to get technical now, okay? So if you go into the old mystery school traditions, you'll realize that from the Egyptian desert, that is where the desert fathers started, it started moving up from the 300s, the 200, 300s into Mount Sinai, okay? You'll have to understand that. And on Mount Sinai, they built a very, very powerful mystery school. And so you see St. John of Mount Sinai and people like that were bringing out teachings. And out of their teachings, later on, the Catholic saints, certain Catholic saints, St. Francis, St. Francis had a lady who was a very, very rich lady. She was an aristocrat, and she had been very educated. And she came in to understudy St. Francis. And I studied her work 10, 15. When I first came to Yeshua, when I first gave my life to the Lord, I studied her work because she has my name, St. Clair. And so I studied her work. And I understood, because of all my background in the occult and stuff like that, I understood, my God, this woman has hacked St. Francis's work and hacked the Desert Fathers' work. And she had brought on protocols that were amazing. And so I want to show you that praying with cards is a way given supernaturally by heaven. And if you look at, in the last couple of weeks, I've been putting out little snippets of quotations from Desert Fathers. And my submission to you, if you are at WOW, is to share those on your Facebook pages for your family and your friends. And if you have groups, share them in your groups, because they are Desert Fathers. They are original Christians. Before the councils came and they accused people and they hereticized people, before all that happened in the 600s and the 700s, the original form of Christianity, okay, that Christianity, was amazing. It moved the world. Okay, so that type of Christianity, the quotations from those ancient Christians, I put up little snippets to show you that the things that I'm teaching about the darkness, the void, the elements are so much a part of your inheritance. We need to get our inheritance back. We need to ask the questions. Why is our religion, why is Christianity not working the way it is? It's because we've just taken little components that we feel comfortable with and we're trying to apply things. But if you go back to the original form, you'll realize that it's amazing and deeply mystical. Don't be scared to be a mystic. Jesus was a deep, deep mystic. You know, everything he teaches is mystical. Walking on the water is mystical. Changing water into wine is mystical. Taking a staff and changing it into a snake is mystical. I mean, come on. And that's the type of authority we should be walking in today. I'm not saying I've arrived, but I can tell you one thing that I can do, and you've seen in my meetings that I can do a little more than most other people who work in the supernatural can do, and you've seen it operate in my life. So I have a little bit to show off in the stuff that I've learned and in the protocols that I have, and to say, hey, this stuff works. What happens if we all get together? What happens if one man doesn't walk alone? If we all get together and go understand how this works? Can this explode? Can the body of Christ come back into authority and power, just like the Desert Fathers, just like the ancients had, and they were able to influence the whole world? And the church needs to come back, to be redeemed, to be restored back to that position. And that's my heart. Now, I'm going to put up a little slide for you to see something. and this is prayer cards by, I think it was St. John of Climacus. It is to do with to the prayer cards, and that prayer cards were given to them. And so this is a protocol of gazing. They're given to them by an angel in heaven, and how they would gaze at it. And then he talks about how, while gazing, your mind gets stilled, and that's the void, that's the stillness I'm talking of. And he talks about how the stillness is so important, okay? Just understand, the cards given from heaven, and they used to do contemplative prayers. So they would have Maranatha. The Maranatha prayers in the desert was Son of God, have mercy on me. Or some of them would have different prayers, the name Yod-He, Waw-He. They used to circulate the light, and that's all not today. Okay, but light is important, but it's all not today. Understanding the light, circulating the light, being able to apprehend the light and make the light your own, those were all parts of the ancient teachings. Okay, the word is light, it comes in as light. And we're going to talk a little bit about all that today, but it's deeply mystical, and there are ways they knew how to do that. And so this is just one aspect of gazing or contemplating on cards, and we don't know what the images were on card, but I'll show you one or two that I know later on in St. Clare's life, how she hacked it up, and she did a few stuff with it. I'll show you some of that. But this is important for you to see that this gazing at cards were given by angels, and it's deeply mystical, and it's what your fathers and your ancestors used to do to have the stillness of mind and be able to enter into the void. So I can have it up there. I'll read it out for you. Is it up? Okay. Can we blow it up on the screen so that they can see it, so I can read it? Look at this. So I call it the Church Fathers on prayer cards. So it says here, before all else, let us list sincere thanksgiving first on our prayer cards. You see, they're so thankful for prayer cards. So like us, they might have these little prayer cards that they've developed, and he explains where he's developed it from. On the second line, we should put confession and heartfelt contrition of soul. That means there is intention. So that means, sorry, my prayer card is very small, so I'm reading it, it's tiny here, so I'm just trying to get it up here. So, so they're saying that there has to be intention. So that is why you have your prayer cards, and I'm going to give you the science of it. And then when you're looking at your prayer cards, you have to have intention and confession. Okay, this is important to get. Okay, then it says, then let us present our petition to the King of all. Isn't it cool? So you have intention of what you want to do, and there's a petition. And if you understand the word petition, it comes with intention and writing. And it's something I taught on how to pray. If you remember how I told you how to develop a petition. Okay, so this petition now is happening in your mind while you're looking at the prayer card. Okay, so it says, this is the best way to pray. Come on, is there? It is it says one of the best ways of prayer. How old is this? This guy, St. John of Climacus, is AD 649. Just imagine, okay? And then he says, this is the best way of prayer, as it was shown to one of our brothers by an angel of the Lord. Come on. This way to prayer was given straight from heaven, according to the Desert Fathers. Then I want you to hear this, okay? And now he's talking about the void and the stillness. It says, prayer is soiled when we stand before God and picture to ourselves irrelevant and inopportune thoughts. You see, 6,000 thoughts coming in. Okay, he says, prayer is soiled if you have so many thoughts. Prayer is lost when we are captured by useless cares. Prayer is stolen from us when our thoughts wander before we realize it. Did you just see it? Right, so if you can't hold, you remember the cube concentration exercise I teach? If you can't hold the resolution of the finished work, and that is what they talk about, the fading glory, and then holding, looking straight and gazing, and being able to hold the image of the finished work. If you can't do that, it says prayer is soiled. Now to do that, you must learn to meditate. You must learn to put the thoughts out. That's what he's trying to explain here. Okay, and then he says, prayer is stolen from us when our thoughts wander before we realize it. Prayer is spoiled by any kind of attack of interruption that comes to us at the time of prayer. St. John of Climacus, AD 649. Okay, this guy was a very, very celebrated church father, and he talks about the prayer cards and how it helps us concentrate, it helps us go in, it helps us, it was given from heaven so that when we look at it, we can have intention and get our job done. Okay, so the way we're teaching using the prayer cards is your inheritance. It's an old Christian way of praying. So I hope that has helped many of you guys when you're looking at what is this Kirby doing with these prayer cards, and people, oh, is this from the occult or is this from some place? You know, just understand that I read a lot, I research a lot, and if you read and research, you'll realize I love to go into the original context of things, and you'll realize that this is your inheritance, and don't let anyone steal it away from you, or any thought steal this type of prayer, this way of prayer away. It's a very effective way of prayer. Okay, now we're going to get into a bit of science. Okay, we'll talk about the elements. We might talk about the elements today. I'm going to show you, if anyone has been into my prayer room, it's very rare that someone has been into my prayer room. I don't open my prayer room up for really anybody. Once or twice certain people have gone up there. I remember their names, like Agatha, who might be watching us today from Poland. One day said, "Prophet, can I go up to your prayer room and sit in it?" I said, no problem. There was another guy from India that I said, okay, no problem, but he freaked out when he went into my prayer room, because my prayer room is, before as well, the walls were full of just pictures and images that I would stare at, okay? And I would have my incense, and which I still have, and my candles, and my statues, and all this kind of stuff, and I'm constantly allowing myself, my nervous system, see the things of God. It is so important. Imagery is one of the most important things that we have to be able to see and to change our nervous system. It's like looking in a mirror, and St. Clair called it looking in a mirror. She said, when I look at a cross, it's looking in a mirror. And she actually developed looking in a mirror, which I teach a lot on some of the stuff for our mentorship groups, how to look in a mirror, what to see, all this kind of stuff. If you're in a mentorship group, you know that I teach a bit of that. And so she would actually look in the mirror, but she would also have the cross before her. And I think this is the cross. I don't know whether you can see this cross. This is St. Clair's cross. It has been in my prayer room for years. When it was given to me, I was already studying St. Clair. When I saw it, it was a confirmation to me. I think it's the Saint Demon cross. It's called the Saint Demon cross. It's a ancient sort of Ethiopian Coptic cross from the mystery school tradition. And this cross, there are reasons why they understand. You see, it's not like a normal cross. You realize that there are squares, there are certain parts that are developed in a certain way. We have to understand that when you look at what I teach with the Secret of the Golden Flower and Jung, who brought in staring at the mandalas. You know, if you look at the Secret of the Golden Flower book, you'll realize that it's a way of meditation of the Tohu Bohu, and it's a circulation of light, and light is important. And then Jung has a whole series in that same book where Richard Wilhelm has written, who was a missionary in China, and he understood that Nestorian Christianity had developed a meditation practice that you can still your mind and then receive the light. Jung there starts talking of mandalas and the staring of the mandalas, and so you'll realize that this is around Fiona's neck. Anytime you look at Fiona's neck, you'll see that she wears a chain, and you'll see this is not new. This is like I mean, it's a sign that I used when we got married. Okay, it's a mandala, and it is both a Celtic. The Celts have used it, and it's also Chinese. Fiona is half Chinese, and just staring in it gives us a sense of union. Okay, and that's what's on this. So you'll realize that and it's on behind the cards, and you'll realize that staring at certain shapes and certain colors train the eyes, the rods and the cones of the eyes, to be able to see beyond the 1%, and we discussed this yesterday. And there was a great video that Debbie Chris sent me recently, and they explained this as well, but they explained it in much more detail. It's like biohackers, but in a lot of detail. I don't know whether everyone will have an appetite for that. Maybe I'll put a video up for you to understand. But just understand that the material realm, if you look at the latest discoveries in science, you will realize that matter, E equals mc squared, what Einstein really understood, was for the first time realized scientifically, empirically in a lab just a couple of months ago, I think. Okay, and they realized that energy or light actually is condensed into matter. And they just did a scientific experiment just a couple of months ago, and they said, this is so true. You can condense and create matter out of light. Now, this is very, very important to understand where we're going with these prayer cards, okay? So these are things that they didn't have the language for it or the science for it. They understood these things when they would stare at and gaze at the cross and gaze at their prayer cards. And they'll realize that the gazing and the soft gaze, and St. Clair teaches that soft gaze. Don't worry about that's Petal. She wants to be a part of our program today. So you'll realize that the soft gaze of the eyes, not the concentrated gaze, the soft gaze, and St. Clair and the Desert Fathers maybe couldn't explain it the way I'm explaining, but they understood the science of it. They were deeply mystical. They understood how it works. The soft gaze, when you're soft gazing at something, you change and train your brainwave state. Okay, so if you have a real concentrated focus, you're in a beta brainwave state, and the beta brainwave state is a very critical, it's very important, logical sort of thinking that you concentrate on. Okay, but our eyes, unfortunately, because we are always on the computer, or because we are always, in the way we've been taught, concentrate, this concentrate thing, our eyes become really, really concentrated and sort of small, because we are trying to focus in on something. And when you generally focus in on something, it means you block a whole lot of other things out. And that's why I talk about don't be polarized, okay? Because as you concentrate on one thing, it means that you've got to block light out from everything else. Just understand, to focus, okay? If you bring a pen closer to you, or something closer to you like this, for you to see, your eyes need to get smaller and smaller and smaller, because you need to concentrate on that thing. And therefore, when your eyes are getting smaller, you're actually trying to block a whole lot of things out. And so then you will start looking closer and closer and closer, blocking a whole lot of light out, so that you can focus only on something little. Now, you have to understand that that's not the gaze that we are looking at. We are looking at a soft gaze. A soft gaze is where you're allowing enough light in, okay? And you start allowing your eyes and your pupils to explode and get increase in size, and you're just looking at it, but you're not trying to concentrate on it, okay? And as you're looking at it, you will realize that if you have a soft gaze, your brainwave state starts changing. And how you know your brainwave states change is that your gaze itself starts, as you start looking at any of the elements, and I'll talk about the colors of the elements, and I'll talk about all that as we go on. And as you start looking at the cards, and this is why the old ancients used to gaze. Gazing at the cross, gazing at the cards, what happened was what they call contemplation. And this started changing the brainwave state, and you'll know at once it changes, because you will see that the colors start glowing, or the borders of your cards, whatever is on the border, will start glowing up and pushing out the spectrum of light. The spectrum of light that you see when you concentrate, and the spectrum of light that you see in a theta brainwave state and not an beta state, is different. And you start seeing that there's an aura or a border around the borders and all the colors. And that is why I ask you to take one of these cards and put it on a white background, okay? And when you put it on the white background, you'll realize that even the colors are in the whole, okay, in the whole picture, these colors start bleeding out onto the sides. Okay, and you'll see a light shines all around it, and then you'll realize, whoa, and this starts happening. It doesn't take long, really, if you have a soft gaze, and you get used to training the cones and the rods of your eyes. And this is so important, guys, because when I started, like I said, getting into all this, I would stare hours at the cross, and then I would understand this kind of stuff. So I would stare hours, and then my eyes would change. Now you don't have to, because I've developed it specially with these prayer cards, with the colors and with everything here, that immediately within like 1 minute, you'll realize that the borders start moving and shaking. Sometimes you see like double images, and you'll realize that the colors start changing, and you'll start realizing the light bleeding out into the white, okay, or you'll see a border around the white, okay. Now this might not happen on you for the first day, but by the second, third, fourth day, you'll realize that this happens, and the more you relax and you look at it, you see this happens. This is a very, very important part of the exercise, okay. Now why is that important? And I'm going to get a bit technical for you to understand. Remember, I told you that scientists have found that light turns into matter, okay. Now they've realized, and Jack Cruz in Debbie's video explains this as well, that there is a part of your eyes, a liquid in your eyes, and they've realized this happens, that when light hits your eyes, the liquid in your eyes, there's a protein or whatever it is in your eye that actually slows down the light. Wow. Now, slowed down light is matter, okay. So that is why when you're reading something, or you're looking at something, or there's a whole lot of controversy on mirror neurons, I won't go there, but the fact of the matter is that when you're looking at something, it becomes you, because what you're seeing is information. It's just, light is energy. It just comes at you in photon form, and the Bible says the word is light. So when you're reading a language, how can you create something? You create something by literally looking at it, and then suddenly you can create exact replica. Your nervous system kicks in, your body kicks in, your hands kick in, your legs kick in, and if you're a sculptor, you'll realize you'll be able to create what you're looking at. How does that happen? How does information that you're seeing get translated? Literally electric information comes in, becomes chemical information, and suddenly your nervous system is putting the exact replica out. Think about that, okay? People, the more they look at someone playing cricket or baseball or golf in a certain way, they become that person. The nervous system changes and becomes that person, because the information of light that is coming in gets slowed down in the eyes, okay? And then it materializes as matter, okay? This is so important. I'll give you the science of gazing, okay? Now, so when you start seeing that in the cards, the fluorescent luminosity starts coming up, it means that your beta brainwave state has shifted into a theta slowed down state. This gives you an opportunity, now watch this, to be able to absorb the light that is coming off the cards. And the interesting thing is, when light comes as energy and information to you, when it gets slowed down by water. Water is able, and this is science now, water is able to take light and convert it into sound, a frequency, okay? So it's now, in the information of light, it has become sound, it's slowed down in your eyes, it's become a frequency, a resonance that your nervous system now responds to, okay? And so now you can do exactly what you are receiving. And so it's amazing to just understand when you start seeing the luminosity that is coming off, and watch this, water holds memories, it holds intention. Oil and water, it's an amazing thing. One day I'll teach about oil. But oil carries messages, but water holds information and memory. So when the light is coming in, remember that light was converted into matter just recently, energy converted into matter, material objects, finances, healing, whatever you're looking for, okay? You need the information to come in through your eyes, okay? And it's not in a conscious thing. Even a blind person has these receptors, okay? It's not, most of what comes through your eyes, you don't need to see and convert it into imagery. It just needs to come in. So when light gets slowed down in your eyes, it builds structure, it builds patterns, it becomes something, and it creates through your nervous system, okay? Just understand that. So once you've got that, you'll realize that when the luminosity is shining forth at you, you are now giving it clear intention as well. So you're giving the water that is converting that light into the structure, you're giving the water the memory of that information. That's the intention of what St. John is talking, this guy is talking about, the old desert father, is talking about when you're looking at the card, have the right confession, have the right intention when you're looking at the card. This is so important. He said this is an important part of this. And then you have to go into the stillness, and that's the void of letting go, because the letting go is important. But we will talk about that as we go on this program. We got 3 days more, okay? So what the technology that is coming to you now is coming in a form of light to you, and that's the luminosity starts changing, and now you realize that now you're in the process of creation, because light has been slowed down in you, and that is why you can see it luminous, and you can see it like this. And the more you look at these cards, if you look at it for 10 minutes a day, you'll realize that as you take your eyes off the cards and you go out into a land, or you're sitting in a city, or you're sitting in your house and you're looking at things, you'll start realizing, this happens, it happens in 10-15 days of meditating like this. You'll realize that everything, when you look at something, you can easily see the light around it. Wow, okay? You can easily see the light and the luminosity around any people, a cup of tea, whatever you look at, you'll realize that the same effect of the cards start happening to your eyes. Your eyes get trained, the rods and your cones get trained to see beyond the 1%. Now you're seeing the UV, the infrared, you're seeing all the necessary patterns. You are able to now apprehend and slow it down and give it the right information, okay? That is why once you start being able to see beyond the 1%, you can start changing the structure of certain things, because in the light information of that thing or that area is the ability to manipulate it and change it and turn it around, okay? And the simplicity of that concept is to understand UV, X-ray, stuff like that. When you can see through an X-ray, you can see what is broken, what about PET scans, what about all this kind of stuff you can see deeper in, and therefore on a level of the matrix on operating and stuff like that, you can change because you can see. Now, the same thing can be done, okay, on a spiritual level. So as you started seeing the aura or the fluorescence around certain things, okay, it means that the information in what you're seeing is not now concentrated and condensed into a 1% matrix. You are seeing beyond that, and therefore your words, your intentions, your consciousness now can shift and change things, okay? Now, understanding that is why I say look at the prayer cards and give it clear intention. So for instance, if I'm looking at the cross, okay, and this is the first prayer card and it's the greatest element of all, I look at it, and while I'm looking at it, I'm giving the intention of it. I'm looking at the red that represents the will, the fire element, and I'm looking at it and I'm literally saying, you know, this is the passion of Christ for me, the intention he went, the willpower he had that nothing can dissuade him, that he went and he died for me instead of me and as me, so that I today can live. Okay, so I'm talking about, I'm giving it the intention. I'm looking at the water and the cup, and I'm saying this cup, this water, this blood, this liquid substance that is light, pure light, condensed light, this blood was spilt for me so that my blood can be changed. I'm looking at the element of the bread and said this body was broken for me so that my body can be whole today. So I'm looking at it and give me the intention of what I want. I'm looking at the wind, the blue around it, and I'm saying because of that, my mind has changed. I've got a new consciousness. I'm born again and brand new. I look at it, the color of the ether, and I'm saying to the color of the ether which is coming at me, because of that, there is no yesterday and there is no tomorrow. There is a now that I'm created in, and that now and that potential is changing. And so I'm giving it that will. And then when I close my eyes, now watch this, okay? You will see the cross. As you close your eyes, if you look at it for 30 seconds to 1 minute, you'll realize as you close your eyes, and this is so powerful. The mechanics of this is so powerful, and this is the stuff I love. I think about this stuff all the time of how to set it up like this, okay? And I've taken abstracts from different places and I put it together, and it's awesome. Okay, it's really powerful. So now what happens is, because you've given it the intention and you've seen the fluorescent light comes in, it comes and makes an imprint. And St. Clair talks about the imprint, the shadow of the cross, constantly, the cross constantly before our face. Revelation talks about his name written constantly before our face. Revelation, I think it's in 22, it's written constantly. The name is in front of us, and the Jews used to write the scriptures on literally their hair, and it's constantly before them. The meditation day and night. So the name of God, and those are the names of God that are written, is constantly before us. Now, this becomes really interesting, okay? And now we're only talking about the cross, but if we talk about the elements, same thing. As we go on, you'll realize that once this is there, you close your eyes, and if you just don't mind while you're watching me, look at a light in your room, and you look at it for 10 seconds, and if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and close your eyes, you will see that light, or the shadow of the light, if you close your eyes, just keep closing your eyes, you'll realize the shadow of the light is now constantly before you. Okay, you see that? Okay, light makes an imprint on your pineal gland, on your pituitary gland. Very important, okay? These are the pituitary gland and the pineal gland is how the nervous system works to send out hormones, to be able to change your nervous system, to be able to give the right instruction, okay? And where you see that light, okay, and if you look at the cross, it's the same thing, that imprint of the cross remains on your frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the executive function. It's what has the critical, logical function. It's what doesn't allow certain information to come in. But now, too late, we've hacked it, okay? We've got the cross or whatever you want right before you, and that causes it to go to the it's called the occipital system, or if your brain here, okay, that has perception, okay? And you're literally now allowing it to imprint you. You can't help it, it has happened. Okay, so you put the critical part of the frontal lobe aside because now it's there, it's already in, it's affecting your pituitary gland, it's already information, light that is coming in. And I'm going to show you advanced stuff. I'm talking advanced stuff, okay? That's why I'm giving this free of charge to you guys, okay? This generally would come in mystery school, all that, but if you're anybody and you're on the page and you're not even part of the culture every single day, I'm giving this to you because I want your prayer life to be effective. To get it into that place, to get it into a light form in your frontal lobe, it means it had bypassed the beta state. That means you're already now, once you can see it like that and the illumination is there, you have bypassed beta state and you're already in the super learning state, alpha or theta state. And theta state imprints the DNA, okay? So this is amazing. That means you're able to not talk in tongues for hours, not pray for hours, to get your brainwave states changed immediately in 30 seconds. On 1 minute, you've accessed beyond the frontal lobe and you're now affecting the pituitary and the whole brain, okay? Remember that the biggest block in your life is your unconscious, subconscious mind. And that is what we call our spirit. So if you have not infused life and infused the right information to your spirit, what happens is your unconscious, subconscious mind blocks your nervous system from being successful. It's like the 4-minute mile, You've got your frontal lobe or your executive functioning is telling you that that's all, you can't do a mile in 4 minutes. It's not possible, or you can't do a certain thing. You can't make more than $10,000 a month or $5,000 a month. It's blocked there, but now we have bypassed it, okay? And now it has got the information, the water in your eyes, the water in your body has got the right information because you've spoken the intention of what you want done to it. And it comes in, and now because it has come in, you can do many, many things with that, okay? I'm going to talk about the advanced things you can do just as we end this session, okay? But now I'm going to talk about the now factor, the now faith factor. So once it comes in like that, okay, I want you to look at that and I want you to enter into what you're seeing because it's a vision, really, what you're seeing now. You're having a clear vision. And you can enter into the cross, into the finished work of the cross. And that is, you're doing it not in the past, not in the future, but you're doing it in the now. So as you enter into the cross, or if it's the element of, someone asked me yesterday something about healing, and I said something, I can't remember. Someone asked me something about what's the best card to use for something. So I'll just say, if it's education and you want to have knowledge of certain things and you're not able to really access or understand certain things, or there is so much blocking you, and it can be just revelation of the word, and you need your mind to change, I would go into the wind. And the Lord talks about how the wind is like every thought that comes to you and disturbs you. So I would go into the wind element, okay? Because I need my thoughts to be new, brand new, to have new thoughts. And so if I'm trying to study theology, okay, and I can't conceptualize it, I can't understand it, I would stare at the wind element, because unconsciously these patterns, the wind element, unconsciously, deeply for literally thousands of years, humanity has considered the wind element thoughts. They're like an antenna, and the wind comes and it goes, and you pick up information. Thoughts are like that. So you look at the wind element, and as you're looking at the wind element, you drop the precious blood of Jesus in to the wind element. And this is important because if you were not a Christian, you will have to give a sacrifice, because everything works according to justice. Okay, there has to be some sort of sacrifice that has to be given to the elements, the primordial creation of the world, so that it responds to you. And that is why Jesus' blood is so important. So you're dropping the wind element. You can do it 5 times. I say 5 times for grace, 7 times. You could drop the wind. You drop in your imagination the blood of Jesus into the wind element, and you tell the wind element, you are redeemed. I'm taking you under my authority. I'm taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. And you speak a scripture into it, you speak that, I'm taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. I'm dropping right now, I'm dropping the blood, telling you that you're coming under me. My authority is coming into you. And you then, once you're looking at it, you'll see that the wind element starts glowing. And when it starts glowing, you go into the wind element, and you're now in it. You're become one with it. Going in means the oneness, and a transient hyperfrontality is what they call that. It means they talk about if you can get your frontal lobe to chill and relax, and it takes deep meditation, hours of tongues and prayer to get that to happen, okay? And you feel it literally, my executive, my instructional brain has stopped, and the messages of defense has stopped now. Okay, and you can literally feel it after maybe 20-30 minutes of tongues. You literally feel that happened. But this is giving you access immediately. Okay, your transient hyperfrontality immediately. You're looking at it, and suddenly it has bypassed the frontal lobe, and it's in your pituitary, and it is affecting your optical nerves right here in deep near your cerebellum, in your deep unconscious mind. Okay, amazing. And you're looking at it right there, and while you're looking at it, now you're in and you're one. That means transient hyperfrontality causes you to become one. Every time the frontal lobe is logical and critical, okay, that the ego self comes in, you're always separate. Okay, but you'll realize that as you look at it now, you become one with it, because now it's inside of you, and you just go into it, and now you're one with the elements. You're one with the thoughts of the whole universe. And right there, you need to be able to project in your imagination, and imagination is so crucial. It literally, when you image in, you see now with your imagination in the wind element, in the thought element, see how precise this is. You see yourself able to understand the theology, or the whatever you're studying, philosophy, or whatever you're going to study, physics, or whatever is hard for you to study. You start seeing yourself being able to absorb the books, reading the books, enjoying all of it. You see it in the now, not in the past, not the process. You give information, again light, imagination. When you can see in your imagination, you're giving it light information again. You're giving light information. Remember, light condenses and becomes matter. You're giving it light information, you've received the light, you're combining the light together, okay? You're seeing the finished work of you able to understand everything according to your studies, and you're combining the light together. Remember what light becomes? It becomes matter. Energy becomes matter. And you see the finished work in there, completely finished, that you can, that you are now a genius in your theology, and you see yourself winning an award as well, or whatever it is. You see the finished work in it. It's in the now. And then you shout out, if you want, you can say a scripture into it, or you can say, it is finished. It is finished. Tetelestai. The blood has paid for it. Now this element is under my authority. You don't have to say all this, but this is the attitude. It is done in the realm of the thoughts and the mind. In the wind element, it is done. And then you step out of it. And as you do that, what happens is light starts combining together and it converts in the material realm. Everything that you see is condensed light. Okay, it starts becoming like that. I'm just going to give you an experiment that they did. They took DNA strands and they realized that light comes around the DNA strands. Every bit of DNA, if they looked at this, I don't know exactly what the experiment was. Maybe I'll put it up or whatever for you guys to see. Some of you might notice. They realized that light surrounds all matter. But if they take the DNA strand off and they took the DNA strand out, they'll realize the light still remains around the shape of the DNA. That means as you now saw yourself finished, in the finished work, and you've gone into the exact area which is the thought process, which is the wind, and you have seen and pictured it and you projected it because you are a projector. That's what you're doing. You're projecting your reality. And you've seen it. The light will now surround, the light that you received and the intention that you have will surround the imagery that you saw, the finished work, and it will become that material thing in your life. So very soon, suddenly you'll say, hey, I can understand better, and in your class you'll do better, and your lecturer will say, hey, you know, we're giving you an award, and it's like, hey, I just saw that, and now it has happened because light condenses into matter. Okay, so that is what can happen if I just did academically the thought or the mind element. Okay, the same way you can go into the earth element for healing, or you can go into the earth element for prosperity. You'll have testimonies, even now you might have. Please send me the videos of your testimonies because we need to get this technology out to the church. We need to be able to show them how adaptive, how concentrated. Did you see how precise this way of praying is? You have 5 elements. You have the thought realm, you have the will realm, the intentional realm, you have the emotional realm with the water, the will realm with the fire, the thought realm with the wind, you have the physical realm with the element of the earth and prosperity with the element of the earth, and you have the potential of time, the time realm with the ether. Okay, so just imagine combining all that together. Like I would use, now we're going I'm going to finish off, but it's going to be a little bit more advanced. Okay, I would go in, like if I need to do my 5-kilometer run, I would go into the earth realm. And once I've got the lights and all that done, I would go into the earth realm and I would see myself finishing my 5 kilometers and actually feel myself running and see it happen in the now. So my nervous system gets used to it, and the light of the earth realm and the light of my imagination combines, and my nervous system now is receiving condensed form of information. And I would see myself completing it. If I want a healing of my own body, I would see my hands or my legs in a certain way, and I would see myself using it in a certain way in the earth realm. Okay? And when I come out, then when I actually do it, it's already done in the now. Okay? And my body remembers that it's already done. So whether you're sick or whatever it is, once you see yourself in the earth realm and that has happened, your body remembers it, and it like snaps into that reel or that film reel or that area, that time where you need to get your healing. I'll do the same thing before my meetings. And I come for a meeting and I want miracles, signs and wonders in a certain way. And I feel, say, a group or a church is not responding in the right way, or it seems like they're going through something. I would go into the mind realm or into the emotional water realm, and I would bring up their joy levels, you know, and I will see them happy and responding to the word and saying, yes, amen, and receiving the word as a corporate body. And when I come into the meetings, I see exactly that happen because I've seen it and I snap that reality. Remember, in the teachings that we're doing now in this series, everything is in the now, everything is in thought form, everything is in memory form, including your past and including your future. Okay? The future depends on planning and probabilities. That's all. Your future will happen according to how you plan or according to what is probable. Okay? Just understand that. So you don't have, the probability realm is a bit tricky. You don't want things to happen according to what is probable. You want things to happen according to what is planned. So if you, in your now, you see the picture of the finished work of what your future is, you will realize that light surrounds it and it condenses into matter in your now realm. Okay, so I would also use remember today I'm not going into the elements completely, but I'm teaching you ways to use it. So now tomorrow I'm going to show you a little more technical. Actually, we'll close today's session. Okay, I think we've done well, but I'm going to show you tomorrow some other ways to use the elements in very, very powerful ways in water, projecting it out, all kinds of different techniques of using these same elements, and you'll realize that your prayer life will completely change. And once you start using it, when you are just alone, like Rahel said, you know, when she saw the crown of thorns, the thoughts became a crown of thorns that were on Jesus' head. You'll realize that even for Fiona and me, these elements come to you. You know, like when you're about to pray, the right element will come to you and beckon you, because now the precious blood of Jesus has brought it under authority and say, I will go, I will do it like this, I'll submit to you, and you'll realize the elements come to you and you can go into it even without using the prayer cards. It becomes quite amazing. And the interesting thing is, your natural cones and rods of your eyes start changing because of the light that you're receiving, and the slowing down because of the way your eyes are created. And you start seeing, even with your natural eyes, you start looking around and you start seeing angels, and you start seeing the light around different areas, and you're able to get information and immediately invoke memories, thoughts and emotions about situations very quickly because your cones and your rods are changing. So I'm leaving this with you today. We have discussed quite a lot. It has become a bit technical, and if you are coming on for the first time, I submit to you, listen to the first one, okay? Listen to yesterday's teaching, because in yesterday's teaching I explained the history without knowing and understanding how this is your inheritance, how I've developed this. You won't be able to understand the technicalities today, or it'll be abstract for you. So I submit, listen to the first day. Love you guys, and I'll see you again tomorrow.